Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Elena and this is Elena in Wonderland. And today is our TBR down the rabbit hole for November. Got my little jar, my teapot. Let's go ahead and go over the prompts that were for October and see what I accomplished. So the first one in my hand is a book from a country you've never read before, author or setting. I attempted to read The Unworthy by Agustina Bastarrica, I think is how you pronounce that. I'm really sorry if I just butchered that completely. I attempted to read this, I got 43 pages in, and then I decided after posting an Instagram poll and a Instagram post that I wanted to DNF this because it's just not going well for me. I'm really frustrated and I'm really sad because this is the author of Tender is the Flesh, which is one of my favorite horror novels since I started getting into reading horror books. So this was a letdown for me, but I was not able to accomplish that prompt. So that is one against this. Next up is Owned Over 4 Years. Originally, I was going to do a book called Unbirthday, and instead, which that was an Alice in Wonderland retelling, and instead I actually read Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, which is the first book in this double-bound book. That was a mouthful to say, wasn't it? So I did a little vlogging for this because I was attempting to read it last year for the first time ever. Yes, I know, it's crazy. I've never read Alice in Wonderland, and my entire niche is Wonderland and Alice and Elena. So I completely understand that it sounds crazy. I've seen the movie well over 20 plus times. I've seen multiple versions of said movie and listened to soundtracks my entire life. So I don't really know what else to tell you besides I'm obsessed. And this went pretty good, but I was successful because I have owned this well over 4 years. And the final and third one is a coffin cover book. I went ahead and picked Improbable Magic for Cynical Witches because this had a candle on there. Right at the bottom, you can see the little tea-light candles. I read this book and I actually devoured it. It was the first book that got me out of my reading slump in October. I was in a very horrible reading slump for October. Even my audiobooks weren't going well, which usually if I'm in a very bad slump, audio is the way to go for me, and I can just get myself, like, pull myself out of the trenches, and then I'm okay. However, that was very difficult this month. Those are the 3 books that were with this specific challenge. Since I did not accomplish our book from a country you've never read before, author or setting, I'm going to go ahead and put this back into the jar just so, you know, it's there and we can try again sometime later, right? Okay, I mixed this up pretty good. I did read more books than those attempted 3 is what I should say. Attempted, because I DNF'd one of those. I did finish The Lamb, which was a physical read, giving me $3. Improbable Magic for Cynical Witches, which you just saw, which was another $3 because of physical book. I did 2 audiobooks. One was Under One Roof by Allie Hazelwood. That was only a 3-star for me. We'll get to that in the quarterly wrap-up. And then the other audiobook was Local Heavens by a Filipino author. Both of those will give me $1 each. And then last but not least, I did read an ebook, King of Ashes by S.A. Cosby. We finally finished that book, and that would be a $2 towards the pile. I might actually put coffin covers back in there because there are still some prompts I need to get done. So I'm going to also put that back in there. How to reshuffle again. Now that we have gone over October statistics, let's go ahead and jump into the fact that we are doing the Dungeonsand Dragons Readathon, and I am so excited that November is finally here. Can't wait to participate in this readathon with you all. If you are joining, I hope you join Team Halflings, and I'll see you in the Discord. If not, Let me know what team you are joining in the comments down below. I would love to hear. And what's a book on your TBR for November? So I went ahead and grabbed my laptop because of the fact that all of the main quests and all the side prompts were released today on November 1st for the readathon. And I want to go ahead and get a look at what those are. Team Halfling, since we are a non-competitive based team, we get to double up on these prompts and we get to pick whatever side prompt we want. However, to stay in the fun D&D environment, I will be rolling a D8 to see which side prompt I should choose first. For our main quest prompt, this is the summoning of Village Square. The villagers gather for summoning at the village square, a call to begin your first journey. For your first main quest, read a book that starts a series or opens up a new world. Here is the beautiful graphic that Ivy created. I think she's doing such a wonderful job at this, and I think it's really cool. And then we have 8 side prompts. Number 1, meet the villagers. Number 2, the fortune teller's tent. Number 3, festival at the square. Number 4, the Cozy Kettle Tavern and Inn. Number 5, prevent the uprising. Number 6, the blacksmith's forge. Number 7, chores before adventure. And number 8, the scholar's scrolls. I love how she created a name for each side prompt as well as the main prompts. It goes very hand in hand with the Dungeons and Dragons theme of this readathon, so that's really cool. So let's go ahead and see what my first prompt is for my reading jar and if I can achieve all of these as doubling up. First up is a trope pull. Well, that doesn't go with anything. Maybe it does. Maybe I can. Maybe I can achieve this. So I'll have to come up with a trope poll. I will put that in my posts here on YouTube and you all let me know. But I can do is pick a couple books that I can, read. I did go ahead and pick 3 books that can give me different tropes for a trope pool. The first one I picked was Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers, and this is a cozy mystery by Jessie Q. Sutanto, and I have been wanting to read this book all year long. I was gifted this book by my friend Anna from TikTok. It was very kind of her, and then this also would accomplish the V letter on my ABC challenge that I'm trying to complete this year. This is the closest I have ever gotten to finally finishing the A to Z challenge, and I think I have 7 letters left. So if I could knock out a few of these letters this month, that would be fantastic. So the first one I would probably do is a whodunit trope for this cozy mystery. The next book that I picked for the poll is going to be Quicksilver by Callie Hart. This is a chunky book. However, Q is another letter that I need, and I'm really trying to focus on this challenge if you can't tell. I will use the trope forced proximity because she has to bind herself to King Fisher, and he is a Fae warrior. I'm assuming that they may also be some enemies to lovers. This is a romantasy. Those are 2 very popular tropes in the romantasy world, so I'm gonna go ahead and put both forced proximity and enemies to lovers for this one book. Last but not least, I did pick Twisted Love as another option for the trope pool, and that is he burns the world for her and hates everybody else kind of thing. Literally it says he has a heart of ice, but for her he'd burn the world. Okay, so we love that. I don't know what else to tell you. That's one of my favorite tropes. I love Anna Wong. This is one of my favorite authors of all time in the romance genre. And I actually haven't read any of the Twisted series, which this is the first book in the series. And all three of these books are the first book in a series which accomplishes the main quest prompt. And I'm excited for that. Going into our second pull. I have said pull wrong my entire life, and it always sounds like pool, like swimming pool. The prompt I got is book with a boring cover. I did want to go ahead and roll my D8 at this time just to see what side prompt I will get. Dice 1 through 8. All right, go. And we're gonna hit start over here. And stop. Number 5. So let's go ahead and look at number 5. Side quest number 5. Prevent the uprising. Read a book with intricate plotting, schemes, or political intrigue. If you all were to choose Quicksilver, that would be fantastic for side quest number 5 because there is a lot of political intrigue in that book. I just am saying, I'm sure there's going to be some plotting as well because there's some secrets that is being unrevealed. That makes no sense. Being revealed to the main character. So, Quicksilver is an option. And if it's not chosen, I will probably still do Quicksilver for side quest prompt number 5. However, let's try and find a boring cover. The book I chose for boring cover is going to be Girl Interrupted by Susanna Kaysen. This is a nonfiction book, and I don't know if you have ever seen the movie Girl Interrupted with Angelina Jolie and Winona Ryder, but this is the book that the movie was based off of. In 1967, after a session with a psychiatrist she'd never seen before, 18-year-old Susanna Kaysen was put in a taxi and sent to McLean Hospital. She spent most of the next 2 years in the ward for teenage girls at a psychiatric hospital, as renowned for its famous clientele, Sylvia Plath, Robert Lowell, James Taylor, and Ray Charles, as for its progressive methods of treating those who could afford its sanctuary. Kaysen's memoir encompasses horror and razor-edged perception while providing vivid portraits of her fellow patients and their keepers. It is a brilliant evocation of a parallel universe set within the kaleidoscopical shifting landscape of the late 60s. Girl Interrupted is a clear-sighted, unflinching document that gives lasting and specific dimension to our definitions of sane and insane mental illness and recovery. This is not going to be an easy read. There is very, very heavy triggers with this book. This movie is a movie that I watched really young, and my mom also watched this movie a lot. It's stuff that I already know, stuff that I've already seen. However, because it is someone's memoir, I'm sure this is going to go a little more in depth than the movie did, just because there's some things you really can't put on screen. And even on screen, they did do some really dark scenes. This is a book I've really wanted to get to for the last few years. I would say probably since 2021, I've had this on my TBR. I do need a G, so I'm gonna go with Girl Interrupted. Now, Girl Interrupted does not go with the side quest prompt number 5, so let's go ahead and pick another prompt. We had this prompt earlier, and I'm so annoyed because I don't want to do it again. Published before 2017. Honestly, I could literally do this for Girl Interrupted. And I'm going to. Yeah. Published 1993. It's my game. I can do what I want. So we're going to double up. And we're going to do Girl Interrupted for that too. Because we literally just had this, what, 2 months ago? And I failed. Oops, I dropped it. Oh my. My, oh my, oh my. All right, we have a book of the month pick. We got a book of the month pick. I only have 3 book of the month books. So I just went with one that I also needed the letter, which is Y, and that is You Again by Kate Goldbeck. This cover is stunning, beautiful, screaming fall, and Jan just talked about this and how this was one of her favorite romances ever. So I'm pretty excited. We do have some bisexual, possibly pansexual representation. The premise of the story is that they're both dating the same girl and one walks in on the other. And then they end up meeting a few more times like Harry Met Sally. So obviously I had to get this book because 1, I love Harry Met Sally. One of my favorite rom-coms ever. 2, my husband and I have our own Harry Met Sally stories. So I need to get to this book ASAP. So far, I will say I have 2 books for sure for my TBR jar. And then 3 choices for the 3rd pull that I did. However, if I could get either one of these as the trope pool, they would accomplish both the main quest and the side quest prompt that I selected. However, my body just is feeling like I should go ahead and pick at least one more from the TBR jar. I couldn't tell you why, but my gut is just telling me to, so let's go ahead and do it, shall we?
I hate it here.
Why would my gut tell me to do something and then betray me? Nonfiction. I already picked a nonfiction. And I already doubled up with the nonfiction. So I don't think it's fair to do it again. Okay. I need a moment to gather my thoughts. Okay. So for my last and final pull, I got a nonfiction book. Since I already doubled up for Girl Interrupted, I cannot pick it again for a 3rd time. I just feel like that's not fair to myself. So I went ahead and went with Unmasked Alice, LSD, Satanic Panic, and the imposter behind the world's most notorious diaries by Rick Emerson. Those notorious diaries is Go Ask Alice, J something, and there's like 2 more books, I think. And this lady, Beatrice, this goes into the Lady Beatrice who stole these stories and wrote them as anonymous and made shitloads of money off of these people's livelihoods and their children's lives. This dives into who that person was, how they got away with it, and I am just really interested in it because I read Go Ask Alice in middle school. I probably should not have read that in middle school, like 8th grade. However, I did. And I have read it multiple times since, and I never knew that it was a fraud, that the lady was a fraud. This book goes into that, and the second it came out, I bought it. So, I think it is time to read it, and I also need a You. No, I just finished You. Crap. It's okay. I was contemplating my life there for a second, but it's okay. Unmasked Alice. I went ahead and pulled 5 prompts from the TBR jar, and I think that is well enough. We have 3 choices for first prompt. Trope poll, Girl Interrupted for both book published before 2017 and book with a boring cover, a book of the month pick, You Again, And lastly, we just talked about it, Unmask Alice for nonfiction. Now, for the side quest, Prevent the Uprising, read a book with intricate plotting schemes or political intrigue. I could do either Vera Wong or Quicksilver. But also, for the main quest prompt, starting a first book in a series, all 3 of these are the first book in the series. So I'd be happy with any of those 3. I will be putting up the poll immediately, and hopefully you all can help me decide. So that is going to be our November TBR choices, and I am kind of really excited for this month. I'm going to be honest, October was so crappy, and I'm ready for it to be over. It was a very hard month for me, and I'm glad it's done with. So I have excitement for all of these books, and hopefully this readathon and being on Team Halflings and having wellness activities also for me throughout the month, I think that's really going to help with this super reading slump and get me out. I just wanted to say thank you all for being here. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I would love to see you on my next video. If you did make it this far, go ahead and leave me the leaves emoji for you again. Don't forget to stay curious and curiouser. Bye!